Hello everyone, for our second and last conference on the master stage for Alegria, who's going to be about is AI the ultimate level of abstraction for NoCode from visual programming to using natural language in the software creation process. Please give a warm welcome to Alegria Group CIO, Lucien Tavano.
Hi, that's good. You can hear two conferences at the same time. So I think it's it's efficient. Yeah, you can. Yeah, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming through to this a bit geeky talk, and I hope you will have an interesting conversation. I just wanted to set the tone with a few observations before I call on my fellow speakers to the stage. And I want you to put your adventurer hat on, because together, today, this morning, we are going to explore. I'm not sure you can really see the text below because of the couches and stuff. But let's explore, and let's explore a world with AI, where not just you have not just de-aging technology that becomes extremely, extremely convincing. Go see the movie just for the tech aspect of it. But where you really see AI everywhere and everywhere for us. Today we'll focus obviously in the no-code world, on the no-code world. You've seen obviously AI come into your life through chat interfaces. I chose to put here Pi. You know ChatGPT too much already. This one is really cool. You want to try it. But you've seen and you've interacted with AI. For most of us, it's been the first interface we interfaced with AI with. Second, and this is where we also took a lot of productivity out of it, is using AI as a co-pilot, as the term has been coined and reused by GitHub and Microsoft. Most of us here have used it in Notion, and this has been like life-changing for a lot of us. And we see also now, AI being thrown at us as an assistant. This is an actual email I received in preparation for a meeting, where it's just informing me that there's going to be this AI joining the meeting and doing whatever AI stuff. And what we're going to focus on this morning, all these AI, I would say, embedded applications within every product we use now. We're going to focus on this morning on really what AI is going to change for us no-coders, right? And how it's going to change from visual point and click to actually expressing it with natural language, with the way we talk, expressing what we need to be built, and having guys like them building it automatically for us. The idea behind this is like, we've seen more and more abstraction level at the beginning, obviously for developers first, and with no-code, we've seen the first level of abstraction for business people, for everybody. So is AI coming on top of this, or how does it play with no-code? And this is what we're going to explore this morning. The result is we're probably here in the history of software creation, where we can expect an explosion. We are at an inflection point. Initially, we might have thought it was because of no-code, but we see it's still slow to take off. But with AI, is this going to actually happen? Let's welcome to the stage to explore all this. So unfortunately, we have a last-minute cancellation this morning from Emil from Actioner, so she can't be with us today. But I'm really happy to welcome to the stage now Taha from Eden AI. So Taha is the CEO. Please come to the stage. Is the CEO of Eden AI, and briefly, but he'll talk about it much better than me, obviously. Eden AI is an AI models aggregator and orchestrator, and they allow you to use all AI models, all the main AI models from a single API. So they take all the burden out of us and make it easy for us to just leverage any models, really. And second guest with us this morning is Dan Spooner from Photoroom. Photoroom, you might have heard of them yesterday already in our No-Coders game. So Photoroom is the most popular AI-powered photo editing mobile app. You can try if you're bored during the talk. And we're going to talk specifically how they make it that easy and how they got to that success. And especially from a product standpoint with Dan today. All right, let's begin. No more slides. That was it for this morning. Thanks, guys, for joining me. Let me grab here. So we've talked a bit about briefly when I introduced you what each of you does, but I want obviously to further set the stage of what you do before we dive into the topic. Taha, your value prop, as I said in a nutshell, is that you grant access to these most popular AI models from a single API, and that's not all of what you do, right? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Can you elaborate a bit more on what you allow specifically no-coders to do with an AI?
Sure. Hi everyone. As Lucien said, I'm the CEO of Eden AI. So maybe let me explain the context and the environment we are evolving in. So as you may know, there are many new AI models around. Everyone is talking about OpenAI, but there are many of them doing multiple things. Some of them are used to generate text, to parse document, to translate from a language to another, and to remove background for images. And all these models are developed by a lot of companies around the world. We do believe in Eden AI that the market will be full of this type of models with different addressing different type of AI tasks with different accuracies, different costs, different latencies, and with meeting various types of needs. So here's like basically what we do think. We don't think that there will be at some point, like at least not for the next few years, general AI models that can meet all the needs. If you consider at least the cost, for example, or the latency, etc. So starting from that, this observation, we started building Eden AI, which is first platform where we are gathering all the AI models, the best AI models available in the market. Right now we are partnering with more than 50 AI providers, and we are organizing all this through multiple AI tasks for 5 categories: image and video analysis, text analysis, speech recognition, document parsing, machine translation, and of course generative AI. So for each AI task, you will have access to competing AI models, so the users have all the flexibility to choose the right models, which mean like maybe the cheapest one, the more accurate, the quickest one, etc. The second part of our product is that we are helping our users choosing the right models automatically, like depending on what's important for them. And the last one, the more technical one, is what we call the in-production reliability. Because when you are using an external API, it can be quite dangerous because you are relying on an external technology. So we are developing a number of tools to make this usage the more reliable possible. Very quick example is a fallback strategy. Like when you are using our API, you can say, okay, I will use Cohere as main text generation API, but OpenAI as a second, as like the second one. And just to answer your question about NoCode, we launched, thanks to Alegria, in fact, we started discussions with you guys, plugins on Make, Bubble. We have a lot of users on both platforms, Zapier also, and other no-code platforms. Right now we have more than 30,000 users of the platform, mainly in the US, even if we are in Lyon, in Villeurbanne, for the people who know Lyon. Our main market is the US, the second one is India. And 30% of all these users are in fact no-coders.
Oh, interesting, yeah. Just to make sure people have your products in mind, what's the one-liner exactly, like that sticks to the mind?
You mean about Eden AI?
Oh, Eden AI.
AI made easy for product builders.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, Ta. And next to Ta, we have Dan. So Dan, Photo Room makes it easy as pie to remove background, apply custom ones, add text, shadows, etc. Your service can also be leveraged, and that's what we hear, programmatically, right? So you have this consumer app, but we can also use your service programmatically, like we did yesterday for the NoCoders game. Can you tell us what your clients use Photo Room for the most, and what the preferred solution? Maybe you can give some numbers about usage. I think that's quite impressive. So can you tell us really what sets you apart?
Sure. Does it work? Does that work? Oh, wow, sorry. Hey everyone, yeah, my name's Dan. I work at Photo Room, and I mainly focus on collaboration tools. So that's Teams using Photo Room, and the API and business side. So for anyone that doesn't know what Photo Room is a image editing app, primarily a mobile application, which is used by individuals and small teams. We have 100 million downloads at this stage. So it's pretty pervasive, and our main market is also the US, which I think is interesting. And then we also have our web application, which allows larger teams to scale their product photography. So that could be removing backgrounds or using our templates, adding text, adding a logo into the bottom corner. And we have our API, which is probably the most useful thing to talk about in this setting. The API is being used by a number of marketplaces mainly, that being Walt, which is part of DoorDash, Shopify, and increasingly being used for marketing activations. Marketing activations such as the Barbie campaign, which was where you could put yourself in Barbie land, which was a campaign run by Warner Brothers, and that had 13 million impressions, it was huge. And we've since done another campaign with Warner Brothers on the Expendables film. And yeah, so essentially marketplaces use it to automate their product photography. So that could be cleaning up images, putting it on a white background, adding a logo to the corner programmatically. It speeds up the time to list an item, which is really important for those businesses, by about 89%, and obviously dramatically reduces costs from having a photo shoot for a product or a food item, for example. So yeah, so the main purposes at the moment are marketing campaigns and activations, and for companies selling things. So that could be marketplaces, e-commerce, or resellers.
All right, great. So I have a couple of questions for them, but don't hesitate to also ask questions. I think there's a mic that can circulate for the room, so feel free. And because the questions that I have, they've seen it already, so they are kind of prepared to answer them. But it's good to have spontaneous questions. So I'm not sure you guys work together yet. So my first question is for Ta. Ta, how do you decide which AI models to add to your platform, or to your criteria, especially as AI models keep popping up, new ones everywhere, and outperform each other? So how would you screen Photo Room's API and Photo Room's AI models? I know right now you're using some sort of funnel combining stability AI models, and you're working on your own thing. You might tell us more about this. But how would you screen Photo Room's AI solution and decide whether or not to integrate it on your platform, offer it on your platform?
So, in fact, I didn't discuss with the Photo Room team, but Jeremy, who is with me here, discussed with someone in your team after we did a webinar with Bubble. So, for information, we started discussion. So, yes, to answer the question, how we are adding new models and new AI tasks. So we started having very general, covering very general AI needs like speech recognition, machine translation, etc. And basically, we have very nice, quite a lot of users right now. And basically, they're just asking for. And I can tell you, for example, yesterday I had a meeting with a company based in London. And they were asking for if we could add a model that can detect if the quality of an image is good enough or not. I don't know if you provide this or not.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe we're working on it. I'm not sure.
Okay. So here's basically how it happened. We discuss our users. They're looking to perform some tasks. We say, okay, this is interesting for a lot of users, and then we try to figure out which are the providers who are covering this market. Usually what we prefer doing is adding multiple models at the same time, because it doesn't make sense to only have one choice on EDNA, since our value proposition is having the flexibility to choose among multiple users. So here's basically how we are doing this.
Because in your position, you are a curator, right, of those AI models. So I guess eventually you could have hundreds or thousands of models. So what's going to be the strategy there? Are you going to phase out also some models at some point?
So we are of course testing all the models. So something very important for us is to have like high quality models. So here it's limitation, so we're not adding a lot of them. Something also very new, in fact, is that the last 4 API, the provider, they added themselves on EdenAI. So for us, we have very quick integration, because there is like an open source version of EdenAI really made for people who would like to connect their APIs to EdenAI.
All right. And Dan, on your side, for no-coders specifically, what key decisions have you made, or no-coders, or your, let's say, talk about also your consumer, and to some extent, like, what key decisions have you made to the photo room, either product or API specifically, to make it, easy for those unfamiliar at the beginning with AI or APIs to use your service? I'm asking the product guy here.
Sure. So, I mean, thinking about the API for a second. So we have 3 different APIs. We have remove background, which is probably our most popular API. We have the edit image API, which allows you to crop an image, add blur, add padding, that sort of thing. And we have the generate backgrounds API, which uses generative AI to generate a background. And we split them into 3 APIs. I think we're looking at possibly unifying those into one single call. I think that would make a lot of sense and make things easier for developers using Photo Room's API. And in order to configure those APIs, you can create a template within the web app on Photo Room, so you can preview what your image is going to look like before you implement it in your app. So we have a very simple front end that allows you to configure, where the image is going to be placed, what the background color is going to be, the padding, where your logo is going to be placed, that sort of thing. And then you can visualize that before you start using the API. And then once you implement the API, hopefully, if the user inputs a good-looking image, it should look great. On the consumer side, for us, our main focus is on improving the prompts that users add to the app. So earlier this year, we added the instant backgrounds feature, which allows you to generate a background behind your image using generative AI. Now, as we all know, the discrepancy between what you enter into a model and what you get back is challenging and hard to convey to users. So we're spending a lot of time thinking about how we allow users to add prompts to generate backgrounds that actually look good and help them convert their sales.
Got it. I think you anticipated slightly on my next point. Maybe you're gonna. So maybe you can be the first to answer and elaborate further. So we've seen AI impacting no-code programming specifically from different ways. I was showing some examples as an introduction earlier, but we see natural language, so AI powered no coding with natural language to no code. So you express what you want. In natural language, using natural language, you get out something no-coded, right? Like a scenario with make or something. We've seen embedded generative feature. That's what you were talking about. Like within the interface of the solution, I'm able to use generative AI directly. We've seen also the co-pilot thing that help you, and also AI assistant that helps you use a no-code tool. We've seen that arrive in WeWeb, for instance, and some other tools. So specifically, each of you, so you talked a bit about the generative feature within Photo Room, and any plan to add other stuff within what I mentioned or other that you might come up with?
Yeah, I think for now the focus is really on getting the API experience right. So I think we've been getting a lot of feedback from users, such as the folks in this room, and understanding how we can improve that experience and making sure we're really embedded in the workflows that we need to be embedded within. So if we think about one of our sort of case studies, which is Silenci, which is a marketplace, they interact with 4 other different services as part of their solution, we need to make sure that we're within that workflow and we're interacting with the right things. So that's really our focus right now. Personally, I think there's a huge opportunity of finding a way to bring this into an assistant. We're not working on that today, but I think it could be a huge unlock. I think, again, it really comes down to that thing I was just talking about input-output experience and how we can really improve the prompt experience to be user-friendly enough so that people are happy with the result they get from an assistant such as that. Because we all know that the first experience you have with a piece of software like that, if the output is bad, you're not going to use it again. You're going to churn. So I think that's really where we're going to spend our time.
Are you considering also any ChatGPT plugin or stuff like that? Or anybody could do it on your behalf, I guess.
So we have other plugins, not ChatGPT, but Figma is one of those, and Shopify is another. And I think we've seen a really good uptick in people using it within Figma and other design tools. So I think we're probably going to double down there before moving into NLP.
Got it. And Ta, on your side, within your product, so what are you doing?
Yes. So in fact, we added a new feature called Eden AI Copilot. It's not very original, but the good thing with Copilot that everyone understands.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to use the term that everyone knows now.
So yes, because we have a lot of beginners in AI, using our platform, and we saw that some of them really struggle choosing the right AI task, AI model. So basically, when you go on our app, you can describe your AI project, saying, yes, you want to maybe make an automation on make with document parsing, etc. So using that, we are able to recommend specific endpoints with specific models, showing the price and generating, if you are a developer, if you are a coder, the code that you can use directly in Python, JavaScript, etc. So we are ourselves using this on our interface because we have like the API, but we have also this developer platform, and it's something in fact, we didn't know that a lot of people would be using this. So we are quite happy with this feature.
So it's a feature that it's like really used by people,
yes.
Not just at the beginning that as a wow effect as an introduction to engineering.
People are really
even on a continuous basis as they use the tool. Okay, pretty interesting. All right, and if we look a bit further and look at the future here, what and I'm asking as much you personally as your company. It doesn't necessarily have to be your company's vision, but just your immediate thought. Like, what do you foresee like the future can be that is like beyond what we already see that is already embedded into the so what is not in your roadmap, basically, I would say, is a question. And what would you add if you didn't have to negotiate with the team or for no coders in general? And so what do you think is going to further impact programming and what is AI going to bring into this for no coders? Who wants to take it first?
Ken? Yes. We are working on like low-code products integrated on Eden AI because we noted that some of our users were using our API but developing some stuff on top of it. So we started developing what we are calling Eden AI product, but in fact it's an API you can use. And I can give you a very quick example for machine translation. We saw that some users started choosing specific provider per pair of language. So if you go in the app, you will see that you have an option when you can like orchestrate all this directly on the app. So we'll have this general machine translation API where you can say, okay, to translate from English to French, I can use DeepL. But for this specific language, I prefer to this provider, and I have this provider as a fallback. So we are really trying, since our users are like mainly no-coders and people who are not really AI experts, we are doing our best to offer them the best user experience when they are integrating our API. So here's our roadmap, like building, because we have right now nice API, people like using it, production, etc. So our next challenge is, okay, how we can help them further to monitor all this.
And are you thinking about some crazy stuff, like they would just upload a picture of the process they have in mind, and you would like auto-magically generate stuff? Like, what's really, I mean, in your, like, what are your shower thoughts about this, you know?
It could work, in fact.
Oh, okay.
But we are like really in the beginning of this orchestration thing, but at some point maybe, yes, you can draw, I don't know, we can discuss this later, but not right now for the moment.
Yeah, sure. We're dreaming here. Yeah, and then on what side? On your side, maybe on the consumer side, what are you thinking, or those user could next do with photo room? And my question is by default, I guess. And for the no coders, what would you dream your product embed to I would say maximize usage and adoption of photo room into, you know, workflows and stuff?
Yeah, so something that we're not working on, but I think it's really important, is, you know, I speak to a lot of users who are doing the same thing repetitively using AI. So that might be that they're just replacing a certain part of their workflow, or every time they want to edit an image, they're doing exactly the same process on every image and just changing maybe a small thing here and there. And I think there's a huge opportunity for us to look at behavior and then automate off the back of the behavior, so the other way around. So instead of the user understanding what they want to do, we understand and then we do it for them. So that for me is, like, I think a huge unlock, because it also explains to the user how they can use the tool. So it's like it's a double-edged sword on that one. So that for me is something that I don't think we're there from a technology perspective to be able to do that in a magic way yet. But I think that's going to be something I'd love to work on in the future. From the no-coder side, I think it's making our API super easy to use and the pricing accessible. Definitely, I think we got feedback that, you know, maybe the pricing could be tweaked and simplified, and we can make sure it's accessible to no-coders in every organization, or if they're just doing their side hustle. So that for us is a huge unlock as well. So I think we'll be focusing on pricing, making the API really easy to integrate, and having great tutorials of how you can use it. And then also we're going to be adding a lot more functionality to the API that reflects the mobile app. So a lot of extra tools coming to the API, unifying it into one single call, and also, yeah, making it maybe a bit cheaper.
Could we imagine at one point with your product that we would just prompt whatever in natural language what we want the image to become, and we call on a single endpoint for everything? It's just like the prompt, the endpoint, and we get the modified picture, all natural language, no specific instructions beyond just that unstructured instructions.
I think that's definitely our North Star.
Okay.
Whether or not we're there yet is a different thing. I think there's also a piece of, you know, what happens next to that image that I think is also exciting, right? Are you listing it somewhere? Are you posting it somewhere? Are you adding it to your Google Drive? How can we help that section as well, the onward journey, opposed to just creation of the photo?
Moving as much friction as possible.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Got it. And beyond your product, I guess you're looking at the whole market. What product can be like, but more specifically for no-code programmers, have you seen? You might not necessarily have this right in your mind, so no pressure, maybe the audience will have suggestions as well. But what product have you seen implementing, you know, some things that really blew your mind in terms of AI for, you know, either user onboarding, user adoption, users usage of the product that says, oh, they really cracked something here? Do you have something like this that you're like, oh, we need to do the same, or it's not applicable to us, but this is really cool?
I think for me, it's products that don't use the word AI. So I think anything that feels like a
Apple strategy. Like
yeah, possibly. I think any product that's implementing useful features that isn't focused on just using AI as a buzzword to get from an acquisition perspective, and actually has found a problem they're solving. I think is super interesting. So Arc, which is I'm not sure if anyone uses Arc in here, but it's a new browser. They just launched Arc Max, which I suppose that's another buzzword, I suppose, in the AI space of branding. And they launched 5 really useful features off the back of it, and I think they were probably a bit shocked about how much usage they got and the cost associated with that usage. But the 5-second previews of a web page, so just hovering over a web page and being able to have a synopsis of like that web page in 5 seconds and seeing what you need to know. The automatic tab creation, there's a load of features in there that just simplify and make the web way more exciting to browse, and I think those are the products that make me excited. I mean, Notion is a great example, right? Like the being able to write a page off the back. Craft docs do a great job of that as well, generating a roadmap just with a prompt, which for me is really useful. Yeah, any thoughts?
In fact, right now, from what I see in our users, is that a lot of them still use old school AI right now. I think that we are like at a point where there are new generative AI tasks, etc. But we should keep in mind that a lot of companies, I mean, in the real world, are still using document parsing, speech recognition, very like classical AI
use
tasks.
cases, but like the most useful ones. Yeah.
So we have a lot of users who are playing around, trying Cohere, Anthropic, etc. for text generation, but the real usage, I mean, in terms of API calls, for example, is still very basic usage. I don't think that it will take some time to have very big, I mean, maybe for some big companies and tech companies like Notion, etc. But for the common companies, we don't see like usage of new AI things. I mean, like massive usage of this AI task for the moment, at least.
All right, and we'll have a few minutes for questions from the audience. I just wanted to give you the opportunity maybe to ask questions to each other if you have. So do you have maybe Dan a question for Tao, the other round, a question for Dan?
I don't have a question, but just really be really happy to have your AI models on Eden AI, basically, because it seems very great. So, but we are working on this. So,
awesome. Let's have a coffee after.
Sure. Yeah, we're really happy to see the NoCode Summit being the opportunity, for different software providers to connect and make things happen. This has been the case with the previous edition. We've seen some great examples of Zano doing things with Bravo and WeWeb afterwards. So I hope it's going to be the same for you after today. And happy to open the floor to questions. I think we have yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, yes, you can. Yeah.
I'd love to know what the most surprising thing you've seen built with Eden AI is.
I don't know. We have very weird projects using Babel, etc. Really weird chatbot, with I don't know. Jeremy can help me on that. There's some product I can really talk about it because it's like for adult.
Okay. I think we see what
I think you got
I should have asked this question.
Using API, we have, but like usually it's business softwares for for restaurants, but we have some weird projects sometimes.
Interestingly, that was one of my backup questions that I haven't used, was like what you do on the ethical standpoint, like because somehow you are allowing people to use those models, so I guess they're doing their jobs on their side, but as an aggregator, you have like a responsibility, or at least you are in a different position from them, that's seeing like what's the overall thing that your users are doing with the combination of those models. Did you do anything on this front yet? Or because you specifically that came back to my mind with the example you mentioned.
In fact, we have like a self-service model, so you can come on the app, start using our API. So and as I said, we have more than 1,000 sign-up per week right now, so we cannot really check each project. So for the moment, not yet, but at some point, maybe we'll check this.
Maybe as you grow, that might become something. Yeah. All right. Hey.
Hi. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. So we are here talking about basically abstraction and input to generate apps, which used to be code, then UI, and now prompts. So my experience is that prompts are very difficult to compose, and yeah, sometimes they are kind of random results, but in general it's very difficult. So what's any kind of thoughts you have about prompts generation? How can be improved? Even kind of socially, in terms of a company or.
So if I understand your point correctly, it's like prompts are not the panacea to generating apps. So it's like there's a lot of work still.
Yeah, to generate anything, even if
To
you want to
generate
generate code,
okay.
generate
images. Yeah.
It's actually it's a science in itself at the moment, and it's actually a black box for many aspects.
Yeah, because it's so difficult for us to really actually express what we really have in mind. So I guess to your point, the question is like, what do you think is going to be the solution to this?
For instance, right, I work in Glide, we make apps, so there are other tools, for instance, like Retool, where people can write low code, and AI could easily write code snippets, obviously. When it comes to images, for instance, if you use Midjourney, other things, the AI builds different images, so you can at least have a kind of a choice or a kind of path, a bit randomic. But when it comes to, for instance, apps where you have just, one prompt and one result, which perhaps is not generated code, which you might debug by something you don't see, basically. So, what do you think are the solutions or possible things that we can do to improve that?
So, I mean, from a photo room perspective, the prompt issue is something we focus on every day, and we're looking at different ways we can help a user to write a better prompt, either by looking at the image they've already uploaded and using AI to then maybe suggest things they could complement that image, or we just released on the web app a feature we're calling image guidance, which is where you use an existing image to search and generate a new image. So we're trialing lots of different things of like, how does a user get the best output from the minimal input that they understand how to generate. And we've started offering for every prompt 4 different images, and then we're going to increase that to 8, and then they can continue to generate until they find something they like. And then the next stage is then how do we then allow that user to then see the prompts that worked for them previously. So finding a way so that they can save them, they can keep them within the app, and they can export them and use them elsewhere. So for us, it's a mixture of how can we use things that people understand to inform the prompt creation process, be that an image or formulating a sentence that is effective.
From Idenea perspective, so we add a new feature called prompt optimization. So basically, we are reading a lot of articles about how OpenAI, Cohere, Anthropic are they're making some recommendations on how to write the right prompts. So we are implementing all these recommendations. So it's quite new on the app, but you can, when you are using text generation, you can use this option like prompt optimization made by Idenea.
Is it like it give you a structure to follow, or how does it help you concretely?
So if you're a user, we are going to write your prompt, and then we are changing your prompt to have better results on the different APIs.
Hello. My question is for the room. In terms of cropping images, so your AI is able to select the most valuable area on the image and crop?
Sorry, I can't see where you are. Could you wave? Sorry. Hey. So at the moment, the way that the API works is that you create a template on the web app, and you basically say, I want to crop to this degree, but it will detect the image, yes, and then it will place it within the template that you've created within the web app. So that could be in the center of the image, the side, and then also apply a background of any type, be that transparent or a solid color or a generative background.
Okay, so if I describe the business and the image normally reflects the business, afterwards the AI selects the area only based on the location, but it not interpret the image with my business description of my business?
So it will the app will understand what's in the image. It will remove that. The AI will select the image, the cutout of whatever you've uploaded, and then it will suggest backgrounds and prompts off the image. But you're right, the business understanding is not there. Yeah, so the business is abstract from that. One thing that, the real North Star from a consumer perspective for Photo Room is like one-click upload to a marketplace or a reselling website, where we would understand the business better in order to inform everything we do off the image, yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe someone has another question? Don't be shy, raise your hand.
They're hungry, maybe.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I think we need the mic to capture the sound.
Yeah, question for Taha. Can we, because if I would be using Azure, for example, they have the OpenAI language services as well, and I can, they have this cognitive search where I can vectorize my documents, and then basically, for example, if I want to create internal chat, my employees can search internal documentation. Can we do something similar on Eden? For example, if I would add my knowledge base, like all the documents that I want to vectorize, create this database, and then use different APIs that you offer that they can go through this documentation.
Yes. So we launched a new service called Ask Yoda. Yoda stands for Your Data. I think that at some point we have to paste Star Wars for that. But right now we are using this logo and this name. So it's exactly what you're describing. I was talking about the Eden AI products, what we are building on top of our API. It's one of the examples. So on Ask Yoda, you can upload your data. It can be either text, URL, or document. So you can choose the right OCR model for this. You can also upload audios, so you can choose the right speech recognition model for that. And then you can use the embeddings model, and then the vector base. It can be a Pinecone, Quadrant, etc. And to finish, the text generation, the chat model. So you can really build all this, and it's available on Eden AI.
All right, good. Thanks for the question. It's a wrap. Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Taha. Thank you all. Thanks for coming.